Please watch the following video to get a summary of Act 4. Please pay attention and follow along because you will be quizzed on this information.
Act 4 takes place several months later, in the jail. It's just before dawn on the day that John Proctor, Rebecca Nurse, and 10 others are to be hanged. The trials have put Danforth and Paris in a tough situation. They've already hanged a lot of people, so they can't turn back. So many of the villagers are dead or in jail that cows wander through the streets, and no one knows whom they belong to. Abigail has stolen all of Reverend Paris's money and run away. A faction of the townspeople have turned against the trials and don't believe in them anymore. This day will be a turning point in the trials. It's the first day that important people with good reputations in the town are going to be hanged. Reverend Hale tries to get them to confess. He doesn't believe they're guilty, but he feels responsible for the trials and thinks it will be his fault if any of them die. If they confess, he thinks they won't be hanged. Danforth and Paris would like to see some confessions too, because they would prove that the trials were justified. But so far no one will confess. Danforth and Paris decide to let Elizabeth talk to John Proctor, to see if she can get him to confess. Proctor's not sure what to do. He doesn't see himself as a good man since he committed adultery, and then was afraid at first to speak out against Abigail to stop the trials. He thinks he would be faking if he went to his death like a martyr. Since he's bad, he might as well live and try to help his family. He calls in Danforth and admits that he works for Satan. But when Danforth asks him to name some of Satan's other helpers, he won't do it. Hale and Paris persuade Danforth to accept the confession anyway. But when Danforth gives the confession to Proctor to sign, he can't sign it. He was able to lie and give up his soul, but if he signs it and they nail it to the church door, he's given up his name, which is the last thing he has. His children will suffer from his disgrace. So he rips up the confession, and he feels like he's found some goodness in himself. He's executed, but he dies happier than before. The afterword of the play notes that the power of theocracy, government by the church, is essentially broken after this. For more information about The Crucible, check out the Crucible SparkNote at sparknotes.com.